Sorry, everybody, we still have 3 minutes, and I'm waiting for a thumbs up from our, oh, we're good? Okay, excellent. Then I will call our council meeting for Monday, November 13th, 2023 to order. We'll rise for the pledge and remain standing for a moment of silence, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Mr. Sabosley, roll call, please.
Mr. Delaney?
Here.
Mr. Dern?
Here.
Mr. Doyle?
Here.
Mr. Hadley?
Here.
Mr. Seitz?
Here.
Mr. Taylor?
Here.
Mr. Vento is not present, and Mayor Schlegel.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report for the month of October 2022.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Dern, seconded by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Also need a motion to approve the expenses for the month of October 2023.
So moved.
Don't be shy. Motion by Mr. Dern, seconded by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approves. Also need a motion to approve the minutes of the October 11th, 2023 council meeting. Motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Hadley. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Recognition of achievements in the community. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Angels, is anybody here from the Angels? Come up here, please. For those who are not familiar with these ladies, they started an organization called Angels in Disguise, and they do nothing but good for this community and others. And they couldn't make it tonight because they're in session in Harrisburg, but I have two proclamations to read for you. One is by Senator Brewster, and this was from the Pennsylvania Senate. 45th Senatorial District, the certificate recognition is hereby awarded to Angels in Disguise. Thank you for your service to the community. A strong Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and a strong United States of America depend on good citizenship on the part of their inhabitants. Having displayed the admirable leadership and assistance of others after the tragedy at Rustic Ridge, living by the principles that adhere to your society, the Angels in Disguise continue to work diligently to help our neighbors in need, immediately assisting 14 families, collecting over $200,000 worth of donation and gift cards, and assisting with a wide variety of needs during this tragic time. You bring honor to yourself, the family, and community. Now therefore, State Senator Jim Brewster and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania recognize your service and extend appreciation for all you did for the residents of Rustic Ridge and the community of Plum, Pennsylvania. Dated this November 13, 2023, Senator Jim Brewster, State Senator, 45th District, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I have one from Representative Markosik from the House of Representatives. This is a letter of recognition for the Angels in Disguise. This letter is to formally recognize Angels in Disguise for your exceptional efforts in obtaining donations for the affected families of the tragedy at Rustic Ridge explosion on August 12, 2023. In addition to the monetary collection, your organization has collected in-kind donations of furniture, clothing, pet supplies, and mental health services. Your organization efforts are a shining example of community service, exemplifying the true caring and support of the Plum community. In appreciation of your extraordinary efforts, I am presenting you this letter of recognition. Thank you for exemplifying the values of your community. Sincerely, Brandon Markosik, State Representative, 25th Legislative District. Ladies, thank you. There you go. You're welcome. You guys earned it. This Saturday is Small Business Saturday, so I was asked to do a proclamation on Small Business Saturday and those who own them. Whereas Plum Boro celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and our community. And whereas according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, there are 33 million small businesses in the United States. Small businesses represent 99.7% of firms with paid employees. Small businesses are responsible for 62.7% of net new jobs created since 1995. And small businesses employ 46.4% of the employees in the private sector in the United States. Whereas 68 cents of every dollar spent at a small business in the United States stays within the local community, and every dollar spent at a small business creates an additional 48 cents of local business activity as a result of employees and local businesses purchasing local goods and services. And whereas 72% of consumers reported that Small Business Saturday 2022 made them want to shop and dine at small businesses, independently owned retailers and restaurants all year long. And whereas Plum Boro supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And whereas advocacy groups, as well as public and private organizations across the country, have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore I, Harry R. Schlegel, Mayor of the Borough of Plum, do hereby proclaim November 25th, 2023 as Small Business Saturday and urge the residents of Plum Boro and the communities across the country to support small business and merchants on this day and to shop small throughout the year. And I have one final one. I was honored last Friday, November 10th, and I was invited to attend a ceremony at the high school. And the junior ROTC, who are sitting up here in front, the ladies and gentlemen, you guys did one hell of a job. It was quite impressive. And for me, it was emotional. And I thank you for that. Particularly, and I'll get into this, for as young as you are, I know the amount of time it takes to do a ceremony correctly. And I got to tell you, I found your lecture or your demonstration on the flag, on how to dispose of an unserviceable flag, and the missing man table. Most people are not familiar with this. These young people did a phenomenal job. So, if you guys would rise, and please come forward. Do I have to tell you attention and turn about face here? But come on up front so the cameras can get you. I want them to see. This Certificate of Achievement is presented to the Plum Boro Air Force ROTC. Whereas the goals of the AFJROTC program are to instill values in citizenship, service to the United States, personal responsibility, and a sense of accomplishment in high school students. I can personally attest that the Plum Boro High School Air Force JROTC have met these goals. And whereas I recognize the dedication of retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Paul Nosek and Master Sergeant Kevin Butler, who share their wealth of experience and knowledge with these young men and women. And I commend these students for their loyalty, academic excellence, dedication, community service, sacrifice, and leadership. And whereas, on Friday, November 10th, the cadets of the JROTC hosted a program honoring veterans with an informative program on how to properly retire unserviceable American flags, along with an emotional performance of the POWMIA Missing Man Table Ceremony. Their performance was dignified, solemn, and spoke to the commitment and dedication to the amount of time and effort it takes to master this moving ceremony. I, for one, was deeply touched by what these young men and women accomplished. And whereas after witnessing the dedication of these JROTC cadets, I feel my sacrifice, along with the sacrifices of all veterans, especially those who paid the highest price to ensure our freedoms, was worth it. Now therefore I, Harry R. Schlegel, Mayor of Plum Borough, encourage all citizens to recognize the importance and value of the JROTC program in assisting young people with achieving their full potential to become mature, dedicated leaders, and upright citizens. Signed this 13th day of November, 2023. And if I can get my pen to work, I'll sign it. Ladies and gentlemen, you can turn around. I really appreciated that. A lot of people, and I'm sure the vast majority here, do not know what that ceremony is about. And I've seen the drill teams from various branches do it. And you guys did it equally as well. And again, I really appreciated what was done on Friday. Thank you. Who is the senior one here? If we don't have one, you're a senior? If you could take this and give it to the colonel, and that should be displayed in the school, and I don't think Dr. Welsh will have an issue with that. And thank you for coming tonight. And thank you for taking the time and the incentive to join that worthwhile program. And it does take time. And again, you guys just do a phenomenal job. I got to get this in. For Air Force, not too bad. Marines, we would have done it better, but you guys are young, you can learn.
There it is.
Thank you. Okay, if you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. If you want to get out of here, bye. Thank you again.
You're not going to insult us if you get up and leave. Besides, it'll make him quiet down for a few minutes because he won't talk until you leave.
That's all I
Oh,
have,
that's
Mr.
all you
President.
have? Okay, thank you, Mayor. Moving along then to civic announcements. Any this evening? Okay. President's comments. Couple announcements tonight. First, our December meeting, not the work session, the second week of this, December 13th is when our meeting's going to be, and it will be at 5:30 instead of 7. So just wanted to make you aware of that. And also, we have our 2024 proposed budget proposal today. Mr. Whitico, it's your show.
All of you should have the 2024,
Buttons on.
Mic's not on. Front.
It's
Just
in the
press to
front.
talk on the, down low. In front.
how's that?
There
Better,
you
thank
go.
you. All of you should have the 2024 proposed budget document.
Mike, I was about to have the Air Force come up and help you.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to thank all of staff. They really take ownership in this budget document. They take their job seriously. They look at every single budget line within this document. Also would like to thank the interim borough manager for spending many hours with me this year. It was a tough budget. Dave serving as interim manager, thanks so much. I appreciate all the hours spent with me. And also thanks to the Finance Committee. We did a lot in a very short period of time with them. The entire proposed budget for all funds is a little over $25.1 million. This represents about a $2.63 million increase over the adopted 2023 budget. Some of the major assumptions inherent in this 2024 budget is there is a 1.75 proposed real estate mill tax increase, which is about 36.7%. And it's built into the 2024 budget. So for every assessed valuation of $100,000, that means an additional $175 in 2024. Total mills across all funds with a 1.75 mill increase is 6.5 mills. The last time the borough increased mills was 2017, quite a while ago. Very good budgeting from the borough manager from that point on. This $1.75 million will bring in about $2.84 million in current year real estate taxes. Of that, $1.2 million will be assessed to the debt service fund. Healthcare costs from Highmark are increasing 9.75%. UPMC increasing 4.27%. We're assuming insurance costs are going to be going up 3%. The cost of fuel per gallon, 4%. Workers' compensation insurance will be going up 5%. And within this budget, we have 8 new hires. They aren't truly additional staff, 5 of which are due to vacancies, 2 of which we lost a few co-workers this year. Their positions have not been completely filled yet. 2 police officers retired, another resigned. We have 2 unfilled positions from the 2023 budget, which will not be filled before the end of this calendar year, so they're still included in next year's 2024 budget. We do have 1 new position. It's an additional patrol officer. What that does is it raises our minimum manpower from 3 to 4 on the daylight shift. We have that minimum manpower now at 4 on the afternoon shift. Quick overview of the general fund. Total revenues are almost $16.9 million. Total expenditures, $15.97. That does give us an annual budgeted surplus of $904,000. So projecting that this $1.75 million over the next 5 years or through 2028, I'm projecting right now that there'll be about a $750,000 surplus, accumulated surplus at that time. Around 82% of the general fund revenues come from 3 sources: real estate taxes, local income taxes, and sanitation fees. Approximately 72% of expenditures also come from 3 departments: public safety, which is our police department, public works, and sanitation collections. Again, total budgeted revenues are about $16.9 million. This is an increase of about $1.95 million or 13% when compared to 2023. Total real estate tax revenues are budgeted at $6.44 million. That's a 26% increase over the 2023 budget. Of the increase, of the 1.75 mil increase, 0.81 mils is going to the general fund. Local enabling taxes, which is our D-transfer tax, earned income tax, and LST, are budgeted at $5.27 million. Licenses and permits are budgeted $757,000, which is primarily made up of cable TV's franchise fees, $567,000, and building permits, $105,000. Intergovernmental revenues are budgeted at $1.74 million, made up of mainly state pension fund aid, $577,000, our regional asset district tax, which is the additional 1% sales tax that we all pay for living in Allegheny County, $845,000, and contracted snow removal contracts, $110,000. We also bring in $2.43 million in sanitation collection fees. General fund expenditures are budgeted at $15.98 million. That's a $1.06 million increase, or around 7.2%. Departmentally, The administration department increased by about 15%, or about $167,000. Salaries increased by $63,000, part of which is due to, we had a budgeted engineer position this year that was not filled. That is part of the $63,000 increase, and the hiring of the assistant manager. Under professional services, we're budgeting for a codification next year. That's worth $15,000. And solicitor expenses are projected to increase by $51,000. The information technology department increased by 22%, or roughly $68,000. That was mainly due to a budgeted position being hired in 2023 for an additional IT staff person. That is a two-person department. Borough Building Department increased by about $179,000, or roughly 31%. Insurance increased within that department by $50,000, of $40,000 of which is associated with this building. Utilities increased $176,000 when compared to 2023. Of that amount, $122,000 is associated with increase in electricity. Our largest department by far is public safety, or the police department, represents about 38% of the general fund budget. Total 24 budgeted expenditures are a little over $6 million, 5.8% increase, or about $330,000. There's going to be some restructuring in this budget in the police department. They will not be filling a vacant assistant chief position. They'll be creating 2 new lieutenant positions and 3 corporal positions. These are not new hires. They'll be coming from our current patrol officers. Also, as I mentioned earlier, there'll be 3 new hires that will be replacing 2 retirees and 1 resignation, and 1 additional patrol officer, which will be expanding their staff. Retiree health care costs associated with the police department increased by $50,000 in 2024, and is due to the retirements that we've incurred over the past couple of years. Uniform required pension contributions are a little over $1 million. That's required due to our actuarial evaluation. This represents actually a $63,000 decrease when compared to 2023. Community Development Department increased by about 13%, or $86,000. A lot of which is due to personnel-related costs. There was an unbudgeted hire in 2023 due to a need in the code officer department, and also some salary adjustments. Sanitation costs under our contract increased by 3%, or $71,000, and we're replacing about $18,000 worth of replacement trash containers for the borough residents. Our Public Works Department, or Administration Department, increased by $126,000, or about 18.5%. That is due to the fact that we had a Director of Public Works position budgeted in 2023. We were not able to fill that position. It is inherent in the 2024 budget. We also hired an administrative assistant during 2024, only for part of the year, so we need to pick out the remaining part in 2024. Public Works, which is our road crew department, really didn't change during the year. We actually recognized in 2024 a decrease of $37,000 in the retiree health care cost category, and that was due to various retirees reaching age of 65. Winter maintenance products, which is mainly our SARP products, decreased by $53,000, mainly due to the stockpile that we had, due to the fact that we had a mild winter last year. Traffic control devices increased slightly. Largest part of that budget is we expend about $327,000 for electricity associated with our streetlights. Public Works maintenance decreased by $35,000, or roughly 6.2%, mainly due to the cost of fuel going down over the past 12 months. Recreation Department, which includes the maintenance of our borough parks, increased a little over 6%, or $33,000. About $13,000 of it is due to employee-related costs. General expenses associated with Larry Mills Park, and we're doing a study at the Renton baseball fields that's estimated to cost $10,000. Increase in community support is going up by 15%, or $44,000. The community center requested for an increase in their yearly stipend. That went from $85,000 to $97,000. The library has also asked for an increase in their yearly stipend, an increase from $95,000 to almost $121,000. So those are inherent in the 2024 budget. Some of the activities that we provide to the borough residents: Summerfest, Fall Fest, and Light Up Night. The cost of those are about $45,000 to the borough. So just briefly going over some of the other funds that we have: the fire fund, which brings in revenues of about $763,000, of which $587,000 comes from real estate taxes, and about $155,000 comes from a state foreign fire insurance proceeds fund. Main expenditures in that fund, total expenditures are $794,000. We have outstanding loan payments for fire apparatus equipment, $151,000. Contributions, which are equal to all volunteer fire departments, a little over $205,000. And the foreign fire insurance revenues that I indicated to come in every year, $155,000, that is shared equally to all of our fire departments. Street Improvement Fund, about $513,000 in revenues, of which almost all of it comes from current year real estate taxes. Expenditures are budgeted at $627,000, of which $150,000 pertains to paving of our roadways. And Public Works labor is also allocated to this fund. Approximately $391,000 of personnel costs are allocated to Street Improvement Fund. We are also using approximately $114,000 of the Street Improvement Fund balance to balance the budget there. Flood mitigation revenues $1.44 million. Expenditures $1.48 million. We also allocate a lot of our Public Works personnel costs. They spend a lot of time in the field doing stormwater work. About $750,000 of those costs are allocated to flood mitigation. We buy about $300,000 worth of materials and supplies for the projects throughout the year. Engineering, $134,000, and we're also funding 2 smaller flood mitigation projects. Out of this fund, Blue Ridge to Tivoli, $140,000, and pond retrofit, Leanne Court, Cherry Springs, that's $96,000. We're hoping that that may be funded through a grant. EMS fund, about $500,000 every year is allocated of the real estate tax pool for EMS, of which $455,000 directly goes to EMS. Debt service fund, revenues, $2 million. Virtually all of it comes from local real estate taxes. Expenditures, almost equal to that, a little over $2 million, all of which is associated with general obligation bonds, principal, and interest. Capital Improvement Fund, revenues are a little over $1.37 million. About half of it comes from real estate taxes. We're also projecting that we're going to get grants for capital improvements of almost $558,000. $250,000 of that is for our Barnes Road project. We're getting 2 Green Light Go grants for Halton Coxcomb Road project, and also Green Light Go Ramparts Coxcomb. We're also projecting to transfer, or proposing to transfer $810,000 from the general fund balance before the end of 2023. Those are the ARPA funds that we received in 2023, and council has allocated those dollars for stormwater projects. So we have budgeted for 2 large stormwater projects in 2024, Obach Pond project and also the Barnes Road project. The sum of those 2 are $810,000. Existing capital leases inherent in the capital improvement fund moving into 2024 is $544,000. We also plan on entering into some new capital lease loan agreements. So these are new capital projects, a new vehicle for the administration department, 3 police vehicles, a new vehicle for community development, a leaf vac, a Bobcat track loader, Ventrac mower, and some trash containers for parks. There will also be some outright purchases, security cameras for all of our parks, which will be about $68,000, a hopper salt spreader, and a floor scrubber. There's also some remaining expenditures associated with Renton Park Phase 3 improvements, $60,000. Renton Park restroom project, which may be completed in 2023, but we're still budgeting for it in 2024, $123,000. The Green Leg Go projects that I mentioned earlier, $416,000. Barn Roads project, $350,000. Holiday Park Phase 3 stormwater, $424,000. And the Obog Pond and Land, which is $710,000. Quite an aggressive capital improvement program next year, a lot of which is coming from grant dollars and also a transfer of the ARPA funds out of the general fund. The last fund is our liquid fuels fund. We're estimating to get $797,000 in revenues next year. It's down from $810,000 in 2023. Total expenditures are $875,000, all of which will go to the annual resurfacing fund in 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Whitaker. Guys, have any questions?
Yeah, so I have it's gonna be a long question, but let's get started. So my recollection is when the last time we raised taxes was in 2016, we were budgeting for 2017, and we were trying to cover, doing a similar thing, trying to cover our expenses for the next 5 years. And we ended up covering 6 years, and despite the fact that back in 2016, nobody anticipated COVID, nobody anticipated a 100-year flood, nobody anticipated the rising costs that we had the last 3 years. So I think we did a pretty good job. So looking forward to this 5 years, where would we be at the end of 5 years at the current budget with the current millage rate?
At the 1.75 mils, I'm projecting that if revenues increase by 1%, expenditures increase by 3%, we'll end up with about a $750,000 accumulated deficit at the end of 2028. So we start with a surplus in the upfront years, and we actually use that surplus to fund the out years. But at 1.75 mils, we'll end up with a $750,000 deficit at the end of 2028.
And if we wanted to eliminate the $750,000 deficit through 28, what would the additional millage rate, or what would the millage rate be to get there?
I would project 1.85 mils. So it'll be additional 0.1 mils from what I presented.
Okay. Anybody else? Any
Thank you, Mr. Seitz. Any other questions?
One quick question. Mike, why was our liquid fuels, why is it less this year than it was last year? Because of the mild winter?
No, it's based upon roadways that we have within the borough. The number that I presented is based upon the state's estimate. It's not always that number. It definitely isn't that number. So in 2023, if I remember correctly, we budgeted for an amount less than what they told us we were going to get. So I would anticipate receiving more next year than what they told us.
One last thing, Mike. I would like to thank you and your staff for all the great work you do in managing the budget. You've done a great job. You know, you got 7 or 8 different funds here you're dealing with, moving money around, money from different sources. It's just impressive the work you guys do. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Mr. President, before you go on.
Sure.
Mr. Joyce is sitting in the office from Senator Brewster's office.
Didn't
see you there. I would have had you read the proclamation. Is there anything you would like to say to the Angels, or?
Well, truth be told, he walked in late. Sorry, Tim.
I did come in late, Mayor, and I heard you did a much better job than I could have anyway, but thank you very much for what you did. You folks are part of what makes Plum what Plum is. And we're very fortunate here. You've heard me say this at council before, because we represent, Senator Brewster represents 38 towns and communities. There's only one Plum Borough. So thank you for what you do and what you did, and I'm proud to be associated with all of you here tonight. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Maybe you stole my thunder. I was going to introduce Tim.
Oh, that's what I'm supposed to do.
Great minds think alike, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's scary. Okay. Okay, moving along. I did mention about the December 13th meeting in time. Okay, great. That will take care of president's comments. Now we're on to citizens' comments on agenda items. We did have a few people sign up. The first being Darren, and I apologize in advance to all of you for if I mispronounce your names. Darren Thomasitz. How'd I do? Good, thank you.
We left early, so I couldn't type. But to all veterans,
Thank you. Delayed. Thank you for your service. And you'll probably know this is gonna be about the Dollar General, and I'll keep it real quick, because you all know how I feel about the Dollar General. One thing that was never addressed or went into extent was if you all chose to decline their application, their permit, what the burden would be on the citizens of Plum Boro. Never went into an extent of how bad it would be on us, where it would go, the stages, the protocol, the procedures. That was never discussed. That was one of the things that was weighing heavy on my mind. Secondly, you all know about the traffic situation, the traffic safety. At the end of the last meeting was the survey that was, or the survey done by PennDOT completed? Because it wasn't at the last meeting.
No, they still has not been completed.
So it still hasn't been completed?
Correct.
Okay, so does that still, so that means you're not gonna vote tonight on it since it's not completed?
No, council could vote to approve it with the outstanding, there are a number of conditions, so it's a conditional use approval. So, I think you heard from the planning commission that there were numerous outstanding issues.
Okay.
So, for conditional use approval, and we have 2 on the agenda tonight, it's not out of the ordinary to see a number of conditions added to the approval. And even outside of conditional use, even in land development approval, there are often third-party approvals through PennDOT, the Conservation District, that have to be approved.
Exactly,
So those get added if council chooses to approve it.
if you so choose to approve.
Correct.
Okay, but you're telling me you can't approve it without those, correct? Without those in hand, without those studies being in hand by all those entities, you could still approve it tonight?
Right, it would be a condition of approval.
Okay, conditional approval. Okay, and probably one of the things that has just been brought up, and I don't want this to be a personal attack on them or anything of that nature, but with what's going on, what was initiated in this world in October 7th, all right, October 7th, you basically know who's funding what's going on over there through different aspects. And be personal, on the personal side of it, when I walk into a Dollar General store and they're trying to be a global corporation, whatever, majority of their products that I've seen are from overseas, Asian market. All right, if we want to start pulling away from our dependency on the Chinese government, might be a little thing, but it's Plum Boro, may be a place to start. Let's put it this way, when I walk into a Dollar General, I probably don't see any products made in Austria, made in Poland. All right, we'll just leave it at that. I don't want to offend anybody. But I'll sum my comments up with, I don't believe that Dollar General is worth one individual getting hurt outside of my house. I've cleaned up plenty of small animals, I've cleaned up plenty of cats, plenty of dogs, plenty of deer. I do not want it to be a human being. Thank you.
Thank you. Before you go, can I ask Mr. Dice to address your question on the procedure on what would happen if we deny this? Can you do that?
Yeah, we never went into
Could you
an
address
extent
his question on the procedure, what would happen if we denied this?
if you denied it.
Okay.
And you don't have to go into extreme in depth, but I think that there's, such as myself and other individuals here that don't know if it would put a burden on the borough or what the protocol or procedure would be.
Well, understand, you have rights, they have rights as equitable owners because people sold this property to them.
Has it been sold? It hasn't been sold yet.
Back up a second.
Okay,
The property is under agreement, okay? And that makes them an equitable owner. And you have rights on your property, they have their rights. This is fairly straightforward in the law. A conditional use, and I've said this last week and I'm going to say it again, a conditional use to an equitable owner is a use as a matter of right. Underline the word right. They have a right to a conditional use, if they satisfy all of our ordinances, if they satisfy the requirements in our ordinances. I believe that what I've seen is that the planning department, together with the engineer and the other individuals that are in charge of looking at the ordinances and see if they've satisfied them, have all checked the boxes. All the boxes are checked. They satisfied all those requirements. So that brings us back to what the definition is, a use as a matter of right. If they've checked all the boxes, then they're going to have a right to get the conditional use. Now, the borough can decide to vote against it, and if they do, they run the risk, might be small, but there's a risk involved, and the risk is they're going to spend some money in legal fees and in engineering fees, and ultimately, property owners, you individuals, have rights to come against the borough when they act capriciously, when they act arbitrarily. And this kind of action, if they don't approve it, if the experts say that, could be argued by the applicant that they're entitled to some sort of damage for that. So it's not as simple as us coming up here and saying, well, we got a bunch of residents that really want us to turn this down. And I understand that. I see this in communities all the time. You want it turned down. Problem is, in this case, I think they've satisfied and checked all the boxes. If they haven't, we'll hear, because that's going to come up if they haven't. If they have, then they get the use as a matter of right. Now, that's the statement of the law dealing with conditional uses. Does council have any questions about that? I don't want to be repetitive, so if you have a question, tell me. I think that's the outline of the procedure that you're facing.
Well, would it be better to wait until the road study by PennDOT's done? Or that's gonna get done regardless?
That's going to get done regardless. I see those, and I'm going to use a term, as conditions subsequent to the approval. Those things always follow in any land use approval. Sewers, roads, those kinds of things follow after the approval is met. Now, if for some reason there's a rejection of something down the road, it might be time to revisit the situation. But that, you can't hinder the applicant who has a matter of right to this approval.
So
If he satisfies
it comes
it.
down to the landowner giving them the land for money.
Right. Oh, yeah. I'm sure they didn't do this for old Perry Como records. I mean, I got to think the landowners made some money on this and are making more money because I think it's been extended.
And there's somebody's gonna have a discussion about that.
I don't know.
Yes.
I'm just speculating. I know that
Okay.
the people were paid valuable consideration for the property.
One other question then, and I don't know if this is a true statement or not, but I was once told there was McDonald's that wanted to move into Oakmont, and they ran them out of time. The people of Oakmont didn't want that in. Council disapproved that, and McDonald's is a little bit bigger corporation than Dollar General.
The difference in
but-
the Oakmont situation is they weren't permitted. They had to ask for permission to come in.
Okay.
Their zoning didn't permit it.
Well, okay, well now and I'm glad you said that, because that takes me to the next level. Then, if this situation arises and that store goes in across from my house, I do believe that we need to sit down and take a look at what our requirements are in this borough, because from that point on, I don't want to see the threshold of Plum Boro. I moved from Penn Hills to here. My uncle bought the first house in Holiday Park, was moved in by the mayor. And I don't believe that he thought this was gonna be what Plum was gonna be headed to. Unfortunately, he's not around to witness this, fortunately for him. But regardless, if there's ordinances or statutes or codes or something like that we need to look into, if this takes place, I think we may need to look into those places, because you're not gonna see a Dollar General in Oakmont, you're not gonna see a Dollar General in Murraysville, you're not gonna see a Dollar General in Sewickley. And I'm not being uppity, but that's one of the reasons why I moved from Penn Hills to Plum, because it was just a natural migration into the mindset that I grew up in Penn Hills. Plum was the place to go.
Okay,
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying.
I hear you.
Thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Whitney and Lee, is it Downey?
Yeah,
Downey, thank you.
Good evening, council. I just want to thank you for your time through all of this. You've seen our faces many times. My name is Whitney Downey. This is my husband, Lee Downey. We live on 9959 Salzburg Road. I just want to come here today because I just want to ask what is the council's obligation? Is it to the citizens of Plum Boro or is it to Dollar General at this point? Because at this point, you know, we have come with many, you know, challenges, and I understand from, you know, solicitor, what you were saying about the law and things like that. I totally understand that. But, you know, if safety is a huge concern, then if that study is not done, how can we truly make a decision if that study is not done? That's the safety of the community members. That's the safety of me, my husband, and our neighbors. There's children all around. That is a huge concern. Also, we have over 800 signatures that were given to you that the community members do not want this. And our word has to mean something at some point. You know, and we've had many meetings about this, and not one person has come up saying, we want this. You know, and as opposed to the extension and money given, things like that, not one penny has been given to the landowners. No, extensions were made a while ago, but not recently. You know, these are things that need to be told to the community because, you know, it's not true. They have not gotten 1 single cent from this land, not one. Lastly, the owner from Pentex Ventures isn't even here. He's come to every single meeting. There is some people from Pentex Ventures or Dollar General, but he doesn't have the respect to even show you or the community about this, to show up to the decision. Does that even mean anything? So I just want to lastly just say that I do appreciate your time, but please, please think about us, the community members. Because would you guys like to live next to Dollar General? Just think about that. All right? Thank you very much, and I appreciate your time through all this.
And I just want to add that to the best of my knowledge, no extension has been made past, what was the October 25th deadline? To the best of my knowledge, no extension has been made for that.
Well, to the best of our knowledge, it has been.
Yeah,
Can I see that in writing?
I can tell you right now, that Mr. Taylor and the solicitor were on a telephone conversation with the landowner saying, yes, he did give an extension.
That's not true.
He told them
Okay,
that.
we're not gonna fight
Okay,
about
all right, we're
whether
not
it
gonna
is or
fight,
isn't
we're
true.
not
Yeah.
gonna fight, because
Go
that,
back and
yep.
ask the individual who testified just now if he gave an extension.
That wasn't,
I don't know, whoever did it.
That's,
No, he got the sewage rights.
Okay,
Mr. Collins is not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Collins is not here.
okay.
okay.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry if Beth, did you want to come out too? Okay, sorry. Beth Tomassis, I still did it right. Thomasis, okay, sorry. Yeah.
Yes, I come before council tonight just to request that you reflect the ideals of the Plum Boro community by limiting unnecessary duplicative footprints of a national chain. We ask council protect the sustainability of the existing local small business proprietors and to channel shopping areas every day, rather than grant building permits to needlessly pollute farm community. You have the ability to reflect the integrity of this community and to protect the surrounding areas for the property values and to mitigate any peripheral issues that may arise from those buildings. We ask you to think of your constituents who request that you keep the character of this community whole and intact. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lynn Brown.
turn the mic.
Yeah, you need to push the button.
Button in the front, very front, very front.
On the front.
Okay,
There you go.
okay. First of all, thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I just, well, it's Lynn Braun, by the way. That's okay.
I apologize.
That's all right.
Sorry.
Anyway, I agree with all the previous speakers, and I don't want to rehash things that we've brought up in the past, but I just want to emphasize two things. Number one is going to be the decline in property values for us, and that's a big concern for all of us. And the other thing is, I do have some concerns about property damage to cars that are going to end up turning around in Clements and probably turning around in some of the other properties for the speakers that just previously spoke. So once again, you know, if you would please consider our situation, and like somebody else said, you know, how are you going to feel if you had to look up a Dollar General each morning? Okay, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so that was the last of the signups. Does anybody else have anything they want to add? Okay, seeing none.
I have one thing.
Oh,
I just wanted to clarify that
Before you do anything,
Let me close public,
close
Oh,
public
sorry.
yeah.
comment.
Well,
Public comment is closed. You can go ahead now.
sorry.
That's all right.
Okay. The traffic study is going to get done whether it's approved tonight or not. I just don't want someone to have a misunderstanding that the traffic study is not going to get done. If we approve this, they're just going to throw it all by the wayside. It's going to get done, and if there's issues in it that cause an issue with an approval, if one's given, then those would be addressed. But the traffic study is going to get done one way or the other.
That's correct.
Okay.
Mayor?
You familiar with Bud Light? Don't shop at Dollar General.
We don't want the building there.
Understood, but don't shop.
It's too late then.
Then we have a vacant building.
Well,
Okay, Mayor.
I'm done.
We're not going to, okay, so public comment is closed. We're going to move on along the agenda to council actions. On behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, Mr. Delaney.
Thank you, Mr. President. On
Yes, sir.
behalf of the Planning and Economic Development Committee, I move to approve a conditional use request from Dollar General, CU-02-23, to operate a convenience store at the corner of Salzburg Road and Clements Road, lot and block 1238-C-371, contingent upon the items identified in council's written decision.
Motion by Mr. Delaney. Need a second, gentlemen.
But I can't do it myself, can
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
I?
I'd like to have a comment on that.
We're going to do a roll call. Oh, sure, Skip, absolutely, go ahead.
Well, I just want to touch base, you know, and listen to everybody tonight, and I appreciate everybody's input. Speaking for myself, but I can honestly say that I think that my fellow council members feel the same. The last thing any one of us ever dreamt of, the last thing any one of us ever dreamt of is out on that horse farm that there would be a Dollar General. I lived in Plum all my life, and I didn't even realize that that particular parcel of land was zoned that, but it was. Now that I see, you got Stewart's and you got the other ones up there in Zuko's office and all that up there, I realized after the fact that, well, that is zoned for that. But I just want to make sure that everybody here knows that none of us, including the mayor, wants this store there. It meets the criteria, as Mr. Dice said, all the boxes were checked, and without any going into specifics, certain things had to happen on, let's say, your neighborhood side, which was the selling of the property, some right-of-ways that had to be given to Dollar General. With those things being done, this tied our hands, and what we would be doing, and you guys elected us to be fiscally responsible. If we vote against this, this is going downtown, and we might as well throw thousands and thousands of your dollars, tax dollars, away to defend this, and we're still gonna end up the same situation. Dollar General is gonna be there. So I just want everyone to know how we feel, not in favor of it, but it's something that we have to do, unfortunately. That's all.
Okay,
If I could add a comment too?
sure, absolutely.
I feel the same way as Mr. Taylor. The owner of the property spoke over the phone to the solicitor last Monday night and told him that his lawyer advised him to give them the longer time period, and he took extra cash for that. And also, some right-of-ways were given to them too. So every single thing that needed to be checked off as a conditional use for this property for Dollar General has been met. Dollar General is going to take us to court, and they're going to win. So whatever that cost would be, plus anything that they felt that they had to add on, is going to be the borough's responsibility. We're already facing a tax increase for the next couple of years. So that's just going to add additional money that we don't have, that really does not make any sense to pay out when the conditions for this piece of property have been met. So, you know, our hands are tied. We did feel that we had some leeway in this, but that was taken away from us by the property owner. And you sit there and shake your head. I'm not going to get in an argument. He spoke on the phone. He spoke on the phone to the solicitor, along with Mr. Taylor, last Monday night after our council meeting, because we were all in disbelief that that happened. So, I mean,
There's nothing else we can say, guys. It's being repetitive at this point, but go ahead.
Well, just the one point, it seems like everybody here would be a little more comfortable if we did wait for after the traffic study. And I guess my question is what harm would there be for us waiting for this traffic study to come in and come back here next month and do this?
Mr. Dice?
That's easy. The municipality's planning code calls for certain dates and times, and you just can't put off the applicant's request. You're required to act on it within 90 days of the submission, which has already passed, but we've got an extension. I believe we have an extension at this point, till tonight.
Mr. Laney, you'll be the last comment, then we're going to go to roll call vote.
What I was going to say is pretty simple. One of the things I got on council I was excited to learn about is why all these housing plans sprung up in Plum. And I kind of laid my blame on the previous council members. And I got on council and I realized that we have nothing really to do with it. That these developments, these housing plans and Dollar General is because landowners, our fellow community members, has sold that property for this intent and purpose. There's nothing that we can do. I wish I didn't have to vote on this. I wish there was a legal way to say no, but it is what it is. The law is the law, and that's what you've elected us for. So if we're really upset about this, then I'm willing to see you guys as enthusiastic about changing our zoning laws and actually doing something about this so we don't run into this problem again. Thank you so much for showing up. Let's take that passion and let's do something with it.
Okay, the public comment's closed. We have a motion and a second, and we're doing a roll call vote right now.
On the motion to grant or deny the conditional use request from Dollar General, CU-02-23, Mr. Delaney?
Yay.
Mr. Dern?
Yes.
Mr. Doyle?
Yes.
Mr. Hadley?
No.
Mr. Seitz?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Vento is not present. Motion passes.
Thank you. Mr. Delaney? You're still on the clock here.
I move to approve the Collins subdivision plan FSC-02-23, lot and block 123-C-371, as recommended by the Borough engineer.
Motion by Mr. Delaney. Second by Mr. Seitz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the Pivotal lot line revision on Old Leechburg Road, FSC-03-23, lot and block 1102-C-380 and 97-G-216, as recommended by the Borough engineer.
Motion by Mr. Delaney. Second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to approve the YMCA turf field conversion conditional use request at 2200 Golden Mile Highway, CU-03-23, lot and block 1241-G-353, contingent upon the items identified in council's written decision.
Motion by Mr. Delaney. Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to grant preliminary final land development approval SP-03-23 for the YMCA turf field conversion at 2200 Golden Mile Highway, contingent upon the final review and approval of the borough engineer.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second that?
Second by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I move to grant an easement to Duquesne Light Company to install an anchor for pole number 277361 on lot and block 738-F-345 located on Miller's Lane.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And motion carries.
And lastly, I move to update the borough's records with the PA Department of Labor and Industry to show Sam Propic as primary building code officer, BCO, and Grant Canish of Borough Vistas as the secondary BCO.
Motion by Mr. Delaney.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Delaney. On behalf of the Personnel and Management Committee, Mr. Hadley.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of the Personnel and Management Committee, I move to approve 3 cost of living adjustments for retired police officers as recommended by the Borough Actuary.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Seconded by, I'm sorry, Mr. Seitz.
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Personnel and Management Committee, I move to authorize the advertisement for hiring up to 3 additional substitute school crossing guards.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Personnel and Management Committee, I move to approve a 2-year contract with Borough Veritas for plan review and inspection services effective January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025.
We have a motion by Mr. Hadley. Seconded by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And finally, on behalf of the committee, I move to make an offer of employment to Kathleen Toney for an administrative position in the Department of Community Development at the rate established in the union contract.
Motion by Mr. Hadley.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Hadley.
Thank you, Mr. President.
On behalf of Parks and Recreation, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. President. On behalf of Parks and Recreation Committee, I move to approve a 3-year contract with Zambelli Fireworks for fireworks at the annual Summerfest celebration for 2024 through 2026.
We have a motion by Mr. Taylor. Second by Mr. Hadley. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Parks and Recreation Committee, I move to approve the 2024 Borough Haps calendar as recommended by the Borough Haps Director.
Motion by Mr. Taylor.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Mr. Seitz, on behalf of the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Yes, sir.
On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to add an item to the agenda, a motion on the 2024 proposed budget.
We're a motion to add to the agenda, and because of that, we have to open it up to public comment.
First, let's get a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. Public comment about this? Seeing none, all in favor of adding to the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Right. On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to advertise the 2024 budget as presented by the Finance Director. A copy of the proposed budget will be on public display starting November 14th, 2023.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to add an item to the agenda, a motion on an ordinance amending the real estate tax.
Motion by Mr. Seitz. Second by Mr. Hadley. Public comment again. Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries.
And finally, on behalf of the Finance Committee, I move to advertise an ordinance amending the real estate tax.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Seitz. Mr. Vento is not here. Who else is on the Equipment and Grounds? You're going to do it? All right. Mr. Taylor, on behalf of Roads, Grounds, and Equipment.
On behalf of Roads, Equipment and Grounds Committee, I move to request PennDOT to perform a study regulating the length of trucks that can turn right from New Texas Road onto Old Beachburg Road.
Motion by Mr. Seitz.
Second.
Second by Mr. Dern. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
On behalf of the Roads, Equipment and Grounds Committee, I move to approve Resolution 965-23, authorizing the submission of a local share account grant application.
Motion by Mr. Taylor. Second by Mr. Hadley. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And Roads, Equipment, and Grounds Committee. I move to accept an access easement for lot and block number 972-L-130, allowing for continued access to the adjacent storm pond.
We have a motion by Mr. Taylor,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Hadley. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Quick question, is that the storm pond on New Texas?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that ends council actions for the evening. Moving along to everybody's favorite section of the agenda, the mayor's report.
I told you, gentlemen, I'm getting paid by the word, and I'm making a lot tonight. Our uniform patrol officer responded to 824 calls during the month of October. And we also put out for the last time the ATS speed sign. And I got to tell you, I'm amazed at all the time. That was on on Renton Road. Some idiot did 79 mile an hour on Renton Road. I just don't understand that. On the 1500 block of Halton Road, another idiot, it's a 35 mile an hour, and he or she decided to do 60 mile per hour. Again, we've got to slow these people down, and I wish there was some way we could get license plate numbers, but it's very expensive to modify those signs to be able to take the rear of and the license plate reader on them. So we're kind of stuck with just calling them idiots. If you know the people or you see the cars, tell them they're an idiot. And the only other thing I have is the people in this community are very generous, and they do it. And I know last month they made fun out of me because they said they all got invited down to have cookies and cakes that were brought in.
We did.
And again, I did not. I find that really hard to believe.
Tell him,
But
chief, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know you were there, chief. Throw me under the bus. Go ahead. On the thoughtful citizens. On October 11th, Michael Soniglia of Michael's Painting dropped off pizzas for our officers in recognition of their service to the community. On the 16th, Judith Sadowski brought in baked goodies for our officers as a thank you for their response to her alarm. On October 24th, Ann from Annie's Gourmet Cupcakes dropped off 3 dozen cupcakes for our officers in appreciation of their service to the community. And on October 31st, Mrs. Mayor, my lovely wife Jan Schlegel, baked pumpkin cookies and had Mayor Schlegel deliver them to the officers for Halloween. Now I gotta tell you this. I took those cookies down there. Mr. Dern's sister took the tray from me, didn't offer me one.
She's getting a raise.
I understand that our police chief heard my voice, took 3, but did not invite me in.
You're getting a raise too, chief.
That was 4. So then they took it back and they threw them in the room where all the piranha are and they ate them all. And on October 30th.
Wait, time out. Your wife didn't give you one. What's that tell you?
Well, I had some at home.
Okay, you didn't say that.
On October 31st, Pat and Stan Kazmarski, again, dropped off an assortment of chips and snacks for our officers on Halloween. This goes back to what I've said before. Our officers respect our community. And just as importantly, our community respects our officers. And that's why we don't hear of a lot of things out there. So, for that, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Moving along, committee reports. Intergovernmental Cooperative Committee with the Plum Boro School District. Nothing's scheduled. Okay, Mr. Seitz, Finance Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle. I'll keep this short since we've already had a lengthy finance presentation tonight.
Thank you for that report, Mr. Seitz.
Not quite that short. So the borough recognized revenues totaling $616,000 this month. To date, revenues are trending slightly above budget. Through the month of October, the borough has expended 83% of the budget. The 2024 proposed budget was presented by the finance director tonight and will be on display tomorrow morning. And I'd like to thank the finance director and staff for all their work over the last month and a half on the 2024 budget. And that's my report.
Thank you, Mr. Seitz. Roads, Equipment, and Grounds Committee, Mr. Taylor?
Thank you, Mr. President. The 2023 paving project has been completed for the year. Renton Park Phase 3 project is progressing. The pickleball courts and basketball courts are now open. Signs outlining the court rules and etiquette have been posted on site. Both courts will remain open until the end of November. Landscaping for the amphitheater is almost completed. The Public Works Department installed sod in several areas, graded and seeded the banks, installed a Versalock wall and flag poles. Lighting for the flag poles and surrounding areas should be completed by mid-November. The house located down on 3235 Universal Road has been demolished. The department removed over 2,200 tires from the property, and the area will be graded and seeded and fence installed to discourage illegal dumping. And I have to say, I've seen it, and it looks beautiful down there. The Veterans Memorial was removed from the old building and installed at the new Municipal Center, and leaf pickup started on October 10th and will continue through December 1st. All 3 leaf pickup trucks are on routes. When leaf piles are abundant, all streets on the scheduled routes may not be able to be picked up. If this happens, and missed leaves will be picked up the following week. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Public Safety, Mr. Dern.
Thank you, Mr. Doyle.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Brian Maloney, do you want to come up and give your report? Save me from doing it? And you're also going to speak about the Toys for Tots, I take?
I like that. I'll even start off with Toys for Tot.
Okay.
I'm all about this. For the past several years, Plum EMS has helped coordinated toy collection to work with the school district for their Stuff a Bus event. And those toys are meant for the Toys for Tot toy drive by the Marine Corps. And I'll tell you what, it's just been an unbelievable event. We're doing it again this year, and we encourage everyone. A new toy, it has to be in this box or container. You don't have to wrap it. We have toy donation boxes. We have one here at the Borough building, one at our station. I know the fire departments are participating as well. Concordia at Ridgewood once again participating, Longwood at Oakmont, Hannah Healthcare. There's a lot of people that participate in this. The first year we did it, we filled an ambulance halfway full. Second year, it was completely packed, and we actually had to have a second vehicle. So this year, I hope to do something very similar. So we're going to be during the Christmas at Plum Creek. We're also going to be collecting toys there as well. So please, we got a little saying, a little bit from each of us goes such a long way. And I hope we get a lot of participation in this again, because what a remarkable event. Once again, I kind of joke around with the fact, last time we brought toys, I could have swore I saw one of those Marines, a little tear in their eye. But Andre Acey, one of our former Marines, was like, Brian, that wasn't a tear, that was sweat. So he kind of showed me which way to go with that one. But that is such a fun thing that we do. Now, for Plum, for the month of September, we also had a pretty busy month. I had a total of 268 responses and transported a total of 158 patients. We ended up going to neighboring communities 9 times, with seven of those resulting in a transport to the hospital. And we needed mutual aid to come into Plum 9 times. So out of all the EMS that was needed in Plum, we turned over 3.4% of the time to our neighboring agencies. But once again, we got this in place to make sure we take care of the community. And it's interesting as we're talking budgets and numbers and finances and everything tonight. I'll tell you one thing, Plum EMS is blessed to have the support of the community and the council and everybody that we do. Not a lot of places have this, especially in Allegheny County. So we're very proud to be part of such a great community. Because let me tell you, the forecast for EMS at times appeared to be a little dismal. We got the Department of Veteran Affairs looking to cut reimbursement rates for EMS by 2/3. And so we're trying to fight that. In 2025, when the No Surprise Billing Act goes in and affects ground ambulances, that could have a substantial impact on EMS. So what we're doing right now is our homework, looking at ways to try to help improve and find out what type of impact that's going to have on our organization, because it's something that could affect the community as well. So we'll definitely keep you updated with anything along those lines. Now, throughout this past month, we were blessed. We were able to do 2 flu vaccine clinics. We administered over 50 vaccines during that time. One was here, one was the Sampson Family YMCA. I had an opportunity to participate in a national webinar with the Cribs for Kids, because they wanted to hear about all our accomplishments that we've done with our child safety program, both with our car seat safety program and also handing out free cribs to the community. So it was a very, honored ordeal to be a part of that. We're currently going through our audit year with Meyer Dusel. And so Joe's knee-deep in paperwork, and it's kind of fun to see him like that, especially since I don't have to. We ended up doing 6 CPR AED trainings this past month, and we were also lucky enough last month to get recognized by the Allegheny County Council, where they gave us 2 proclamations. One was for Andre Acey getting the Star Life Award, and the other was for Plum EMS getting the National Award of Excellence. So we've had a great month. We're looking forward to a great holiday, and hope everyone does too. So any questions, comments, finger gestures, maybe a little something to make me smile?
Great job, Brian. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brian.
Mr. Dern?
That's all I have, sir. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much. Moving along to the Planning and Economic Development Committee. Mr. Delaney.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the Planning and Economic Development Committee, the Community Development Department issued 103 permits in October. The Zoning Hearing Board did not meet, neither did the Planning Commission. Staff met with owners of Bygone Wines to discuss possible relocation of business to 415 Unity Center Road, Lulu's Pizzeria. Staff conducted a pre-construction meeting for the new Sheets development. Staff met with MDM Consultants and Our Lady of Joy for a potential parking lot expansion project. Code enforcement completed 91 residential and apartment occupancy inspections and addressed 21 complaints in October. Code enforcement also met to discuss the proposed 2024 demolitions. That'll be all, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Delaney. Parks and Recreation, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Trimming and grass maintenance was ongoing at the Borough Parks and Facilities. The pavilion rental season ended on October 31st. The PBSA and soccer fields were aerated. Dog waste stations were installed along the paved walking path at the Borough fields. Minor safety repairs were made to several pieces of playground equipment at Larry Mills Park. And the Borough HAP's upcoming events include Christmas at Plum Creek on Thursday, November 30th from 5:30 to 9 p.m. at the new municipal complex, and Sin Brunch at the Banquet Hall on Saturday, December 9th at 10:30 a.m. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. Appreciate that, sir. Next on the agenda is citizens' comments and non-agenda items, which nobody has signed up for, but that doesn't preclude you from coming up if anybody has anything to say. Okay, seeing none, that brings us to the end of the agenda, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Dern, second by Mr. Hadley. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.